You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
And I'm Clint. Welcome to Locked On Bulldogs here on Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today episode, Daniel, just like every single time here on the Locked On Bulldogs and the Locked On Podcast Network, is for fans, by fans, not gurus or insiders. Really quick shout out to somebody on YouTube who pointed out that Meeks had 3 catches last year. Daniel, just wanted to get that in because our listeners are fans and they're not gurus and insiders.
They watch.
They're there. Watch. Just like us. So
full disclosure, I read that comment as well, and I thought to myself, for a minute, I thought, is that person like insulting us by predicting that Meeks is going to have 3 catches for 46 yards? And then I realized, no, that was his last year's statistics. I do think he'll have more than that this year.
I think so too. If you're listening to us on the audio side, glad you're here. Give us a 5-star rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're on YouTube, hit that follow, subscribe, get that bell ringing when we come on. Give us a rating and comment below. We'd love to interact with you. Today, we are talking about 3 things. Number 1, we're talking about a generational quarterback talent coming to Georgia. Number 2, we're talking about a number 1 overall pick for Georgia, and it's not named Brock Bowers. And number 3, we are talking about lockdown corners and how wrong we've been before about lockdown corners at UGA.
Popular topic on the podcast, lockdown corners.
Stokes. We thought Stokes didn't have it in him.
Stick around till the end because when Clint and I talk about lockdown corners, we're always wrong. So whatever we say at the end of this podcast, almost 100% guaranteed to be wrong. Yeah. But you mentioned 3 things. It's a grab bag. It's Friday. We're just picking at everything here today, but our buddy John Clint, renowned insider of John Tweet Sports at John Tweet Sports. You know he's an insider. I know he's an insider.
That's right.
He put out he sent out something on the Twitter machine yesterday and got our attention. We're gonna have him on the podcast, but he was having a situation at the old homestead there, and so was not able to come on. But John is of the opinion that he's been reading the tea leaves. Clint.
John does not hold an opinion on this. He has a declaration to be made.
He's been reading the tea leaves. He lit a candle, I believe. He stared into the flame.
Robes were worn.
Yeah. And the declaration that John's making is that Arch Manning is coming to the University of Georgia, and you can just book it, is what he says.
After the news of Cutcliffe not taking a job at Texas and going to work for the SEC, as well as Buster over at UGA, analytics offensive side, doing some work for UGA, for the Dawgs.
Has any person ridden one man's success more than David Cutcliffe has, by the way?
No.
Name something David Cutcliffe has ever done in his life besides coach Peyton Manning.
Oh, I'm sure he's had I'm sure he's had children, Daniel. I'm sure he's,
I'm sure he's eating dinner from time to time, but that's not relevant to this conversation.
I hear you. I hear you.
Maybe Peyton Manning was just very good.
Maybe he was so once in a lifetime
to be there. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, David Cutcliffe not going to be at Texas. We've heard that Arch Manning was a lock to Alabama. We've heard that Arch Manning was a lock to Texas. And now John is declaring that Arch Manning is a lock to UGA. And so, Clint, I ask you, are you excited about this?
Here's the deal, y'all. I'm beyond excited about this. Okay?
I couldn't tell where you were going. I couldn't tell what was going to happen.
I am thrilled with this, and here is why. It is simple. It is simple.
Yes.
I want to tell all of you people.
This is my same reasoning, Clint. We are the same. We are the same person, and we're so petty and we're so small, but I don't care. I do not care. Tell him.
All of you people that want to talk about Kirby not being able to pass and change and it's just the same old and Georgia's always going to be yada yada, you can shove it. Because this just proves we're in the ball game with the Alabamas, with the big offense, with the run and gun, yada yada yada. I want you to shove it. This is not UGA of old. This is not the old Kirby. This is not the old coaching staff. I don't care if he actually comes here or not. The fact that he's even considering it, the fact that he's on the list, makes sure everybody else knows this is not the same Georgia. This kid is different.
The comment section would have you believe that Kirby has so wildly mismanaged the quarterback situation at Georgia, Clint.
Yes, sir.
That after what he did to JT Daniels, why would any quarterback recruit even consider coming to Georgia when you're just going to start Stetson Bennett ahead of JT Daniels, the generational 5-star quarterback? Why would anyone even consider coming to Georgia? That's what the comment section would have you believe, Clint. And yet here we are. So I guess maybe you were wrong about that.
I guess you aren't an insider and you don't know anything.
Fascinating. Look, we're not reporting anything. Go follow at John Tweet Sports. Ask him why he's so sure about this. But as you said, Clint, the fact that Georgia's in this conversation has got to make you excited as a Georgia fan. What Todd Monken has done in just a couple of years, the seeming succession plan that's already in place for Todd Monken. When you look at these analysts that are being brought in and you read some tea leaves there. So when you look into what Kirby is setting up offensively at Georgia, it's special. It's fun. It's very fun. All right. Let's talk about someone else who's special, Clint, and that is a Georgia Bulldog in this year's draft that some writer for not ESPN, for NFL Network, for NFL.com believes is going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. We'll talk about that when we come back. But first, want to tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. And you know this if you listen to the podcast, if you watch the show, because Clint and I talk about it all the time. They come in a wide variety of delicious flavors. There are, I think, 12 or 13 different flavors that you can get. You can get them in different textures. They are great for pre-workout, post-workout, high in protein, high in fiber, low in sugar, keto approved. They're the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. And so if you need something for on the go when you're dropping the kids off or picking the kids up, or you're coming home from work, or you hit that 2 o'clock lull at the office, throw some in your glove box, in your office desk drawer, wherever you need them. Built Bar is a great choice because, again, they're not going to be high in sugar. They're not going to give you that sugar crash that you get when you eat a Snickers in the middle of the day, and yet they taste like a Snickers. Caramel, fruit flavors, chocolate flavors, birthday cake flavors, whatever you want, Built Bar has got them. Right now, BuiltBar.com, LockedOn15 is the promo code. That gets you 15% off your first order. BuiltBar.com, LockedOn15 is the promo code for 15% off your first order. Built Bar, the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth.
Okay, let's just cut to it. Travon Walker, Maurice Jones-Drew, writing for NFL.com, does a mock draft.
Maurice Jones-Drew, who I just learned is not still the starting tailback for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He is still 5'4", 255 pounds. He
could still run through you like you weren't even there. Absolutely.
I ain't playing Oklahoma drill with that. No.
No, sir.
No, he on the beach down in Florida during spring break, just trolling college kids. They said this little man over here who's like 45.
Your only chance in an Oklahoma drill against Maurice Jones-Drew is that he goes right between your legs because he's so small. Like you just, that's right. You come up getting ready to hit him and he just slides right under. Okay, Maurice Jones-Drew now writing for NFL Network.
NFL.com.
I think it's the same people.
I just want to. It is the NFL, Daniel. Okay. But the article came out on NFL.com, and he projects now with a long-term deal for tackle in place that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to take Travon Walker, number 1 overall. Daniel, I just ask you, has the combine hype gone too far?
It's funny because I want to say yes. I want to say yes, it has. But I think as a Georgia fan, and just, I mean, if you're a Georgia fan, listen to the podcast, leave us a comment, let us know, send us an email, something, reach out on Twitter. I think as a Georgia fan, the more as I sit with this information and I try to assess it and analyze it, I think it's just uncomfortable for me because every year we see somebody just vault up the draft boards. Just absolutely, you see their stock skyrocket, right? We see it every year. But every year that player plays for Alabama or LSU or I don't know, Texas or Oregon or some other school, Ohio State, Clemson. You see players who do this, but we haven't seen a Georgia player do this, like really shoot up draft boards. And now, not just Trayvon Walker, number 1 overall, but Jordan Davis also really ascended. Like he was being mocked outside of the first round by a lot of people a month ago. And now he's moving way up.
You do a 3-cone drill in a certain amount of time, and all of a sudden people will be looking, Daniel.
People be looking. Look, I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable because I look at Trayvon Walker and he's freakish and he's very good.
Yep.
But he wasn't the second best player on the defense or the third best player on the defense or the fourth best player on the defense last year. Like you got to go way down the list before you get to Trayvon Walker. And so I know NFL scouts are looking at long-term potential.
Sure.
But I still look at a guy like Nakobe Dean and say, like, that's a can't-miss prospect, y'all. So, like,
that's
Walker,
my problem with this. I don't have a problem Trayvon going number 1. I really don't, because the measurables, they're going to do this all over the place with guys. And if you do that, that's fine. You're going to do this at quarterbacks. You're going to reach at a quarterback. And I'm not calling Trayvon a reach because I think he's going to be a very, 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 very solid floor, is good starting outside linebacker / edge defensive end in the NFL. But my problem is I want to know also where you put Nakobe, Channing, Devontae. I want to know about those guys, because if you have Nakobe and you're going to be like, well, size is a problem for him. Now you've overblown. Now you've overblown the combine. Now you've made Trayvon Walker a Superman. You made Nakobe. At the end of the day, you still play football. If you have Nakobe going 20 or below, I'm fine with you saying Trayvon goes 1. I really am, because now I understand you watch film and the combine both together in that case.
That's right.
All right. Hey, we're going to come back after this and talk about lockdown corners, which Daniel and I know all too well. We're experts.
So much about. We know
so much about. But first, we'll let you know about Athletic Greens. We have a new sponsor to the podcast, and that is Athletic Greens. I don't know if you understand, Daniel, but I actually started taking Athletic Greens this week. Came in the mail.
How about that?
Yeah. Nice little bottle. Got 1 scoop of that stuff. You love to see it. Got 1 scoop of that. Mm-hmm. Put it in there. And here's why I started taking it, because I wanted to have a little bit more health. I wanted to have a little bit more nutrient and multivitamin and just good stuff from vegetables and from this incredible rich resource into my system. And I wanted it quick. I wanted superfoods. I didn't want to have to cook and eat it. And that's exactly where Athletic Greens comes in. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial flavoring whatsoever. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit, which, by the way, just do both of those together.
Why would you? Don't come after my cold brew habit.
But still do the
What
Athletic
if I
Greens
just add Athletic Greens on top of it? Is that allowed?
Athletic
Okay.
Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. It's recommended by professional athletes. And right now it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrient, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just one scoop into a cup of cold water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills, supplements. All you got to do is this to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you free 1-year supply of immune support vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/college. Again, athleticgreens.com/college to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Also want to let you know about the good folks over at BetOnline. BetOnline is the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. It is the only place that Clint and I go to place our wagers on March Madness, on the Masters futures coming up. I like Sam Burns. Played really well last weekend. Looked really good. JT is obviously really hot, but you're going to have to pay a pretty heavy price in terms of the juice if you're going to take JT's. He's
I need
probably going to
better
be
odds.
the prohibitive favorite.
Yep.
But you got to like a guy like his chances. Masters bets, Major League Baseball futures. I got my Braves hat on. I'm ready to talk about it. I'm ready to move on. If you want to talk about it, I'm ready to talk about it because the defending World Series champs are coming. Let's do this.
We have the best outfield in all of baseball. Let's go.
All of it, we have a better statistical first baseman this year than we did last year.
Correct. Factually
Debate a
correct.
wall. BetOnline.ag is where you get all these lines. It's where you place all these wagers. And so go there right now, betonline.net. They're the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, the only place Clint and I trust. And right now you enter the promo code Locked On and you get a bonus on your initial deposit. They give you free money with which to wager. That's enter the promo code Locked On when you make your first deposit at BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts.
All right, let's talk about lockdown corners because you and I know everything about that. We are famous for being on this show and saying that Eric Stokes was not going to be a lockdown corner. It turns out that he is one of the better ones in the entire league right now, already in that category as a rookie. DeAndre Baker, we famously said, does not have to be a lockdown corner. Turns out he was one of the best lockdown corners Georgia's ever seen. So take this.
Let's just do it again, Clint. Are you ready?
This is our gift to you, Georgia fans, okay? This is our gift to you.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this right now.
Okay.
If Kelee Ringo never does another thing for the University of Georgia,
say it.
Build a statue. Build the man a statue outside of Sanford Stadium. He's already a University of Georgia legend. He has made my single favorite play in the history of organized sports.
You could have said organized things, and you could have stopped.
In the history of organization,
correct.
Kelee Ringo has done my favorite thing that any other person has ever done. So he doesn't owe me anything. You understand? He doesn't owe you anything, Georgia fan.
No.
So I'm merely asking for informational purposes only, Clint.
Okay.
Do you think that Kelee Ringo has what it takes this year, in 2022, the year of our Lord, to be a lockdown corner for the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC?
Absolutely, Daniel. Absolutely, he does. Okay?
Come on.
Here's why. He's got that size-speed combo. He's got long arms. He's got long... You see this kid working out. You see him on all sorts of trampoline, hooked up to tension, just jumping for days. It's incredible. He's got the dedication. He's got the athleticism. He's already got the smarts. He was not a liability in the secondary. He was not shown up by upperclassmen in the secondary, Daniel. He absolutely can be a lockdown corner that takes half the field away this year in the SEC. Yes.
I'm going to go. I agree with you.
Okay.
And I agree with all your reasoning. I'm going to layer one more on top. So all of your reasoning applies, and I think it's totally valid. But being a lockdown corner, Clint, I'm going to say, is 50% physical. And you've done a great job of describing Kelee Ringo's physical gifts and skills. But there's a difference between being a very good corner and being a lockdown corner. And the difference is that being a lockdown corner is 50% mental, I think. I think it's 50% swag. I think it's 50% confidence.
Confident. I was just going to bravado confidence. Yep.
It is 50% of I dare you to throw it over here. I bet you won't throw it over here. And let me just say this. Darion Kendrick may not have had all the physical tools to be a lockdown corner, but you better believe he had that swag. He had that bravado.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what made him good for Georgia. I think Kelee Ringo's got both. I think the year of experience last year, you cannot put a price on. You cannot put a price on going out there, play after play after play in the SEC and getting all of that experience, winning a national championship, coming up big in the biggest moment of the season for your team, and doing the thing that sealed the national. You were the one with the ball in your hand when the sideline began to celebrate. You understand what that does for a kid's confidence? And it's not just that. Go on to what, Kirby's talked about Kelee in this spring practice and leadership role on the team and all that stuff. All that's great. But go back to what Kirby said after the national championship game.
Yes, sir.
He said, when the ball was in the air, I didn't know Kelee was going to score a touchdown.
I knew.
But I knew he was going to make the play.
I've seen him do it 1,000 times in practice.
So I present to you Exhibit A, evidence. Kirby knows that Kelee Ringo has got what it takes to be a lockdown corner. And let me just spoil it for you. Kirby knows more about being a lockdown corner than you or I or anyone listening to this show will ever know about being a lockdown corner.
Good.
So
that's good.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take that.
We agree. We concur. This has been Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcast. Your team every day. We will see you guys next week.
See ya.